Okay. Now, like if we have databases in Kubernetes, then while deploying it, if is it mandatory to use persistent volume? If yes, then why it is mandatory or why it is needed? And if not, kindly like give some justifications about that.
Okay, so we have to understand what type of application my database is. For example, there are some application which is stateful and there are some stateless. So a stateful application need to store their state. Like for example, if we are talking about any normal application or static application, those type of application doesn't need to store any state. And if we remove those application and delete everything, I mean, and then later we can install that again, the both of the application will be same. There won't be any single change on both of those. But on the other hand, if we are talking about MySQL or any a specific database, those are needed to maintain their state, which means even if we delete the database, it should keep the data, because as you know, data is quite important for any company or any people. So we have to maintain those data and we have to store those even if our application crash or there are some problem with the application. So what a persistent volume does, it stores the data, and whenever there is problem with the application, we can just remove that, and the persistent volume will keep the data, and later we can deploy the application again and it will be running. And let me tell you in details. For example, as I previously said, there are 4 nodes in our application cluster. So let's say node number 1 and node number 2. So MySQL is installed in node number 1, and for some reason there are too much resources taken on node number 1, and MySQL need to switch to node number 2. So if we deploy the MySQL newly on the node number 2, it will be done by Kubernetes automatically. But just think about it. So if Kubernetes deploy the MySQL in the node number 2, there is no connection between. If you think individually, so there is no connection between node number 1 and node number 2. So here comes the persistent volume in play. So storage will be there, just the application will be separated. Like it from the node number 2, it will be on node number 2, then it will connect it to the persistent volumes and the MySQL application. So data will be there, but the actual resources will be switched.
Okay.
I mean the
Thank
application.
you. Thank you so much for your elaborate answer.
Well,